I'm Mark Owens, Design Director here at The Walker, and very pleased to welcome you to Insights 2025. Here at the top of every event here at The Walker, we take a moment to acknowledge that the Walker Art Center is located on the contemporary, traditional, and ancestral homelands of the Dakota people, once an expanse of marshland and meadow that still holds meaning for Dakota, Ojibwe, and other indigenous people who call the Twin Cities home. As a cultural organization, The Walker works towards building relationships with Native communities through artistic and educational programs, curatorial and community partnerships, and the presentation of new work. For those who might be new to this program, the Insights Design Lecture Series celebrates its 40th anniversary next year. Since 1986, Insights has served as a resource for anyone interested in design, and all of the lectures since 2005 are archived on the Walker website, walkerart.org/Insights Design Lecture Series. Insights is an ongoing partnership with AIGA Minnesota and Shapco, who generously donate the printing for the Insights poster each and every year. We really thank them for what has turned out to be a very long-running collaboration. Insights is very much a group effort here at The Walker, so I also want to thank my team in the Walker Design Studio and our colleagues in content and communications, marketing, and the Walker Shop, as well as our Walker event production team who make everything run smoothly, and Gretchen and Josette who are providing ASL tonight. Before introducing Davis and JP, I'd also like to highlight our final Insights lecture. Next week on Wednesday, March 26th at 7 p.m. right here in the Walker Cinema, we will welcome Minneapolis' own Oddmart to talk about comics, t-shirts, chewing gum, and the challenges of running a retail space. I encourage you to visit their storefront just down Lindell Avenue and welcome you to join us for a reception tonight after this evening's talk. The Walker Shop is remaining open, so I hope you'll have a chance to visit the Walker Shop. We also have a limited edition actual source merch item. Tonight, I could not be happier to welcome Davis and JP from Actual Source to the Walker. For this year's Insights, we have been thinking a lot about expanded studio practice, and a couple of threads or sub-themes have emerged: world making and shopkeeping. Whether it be a retail space, a brand, an apparel capsule, or even a comic book, as designers, we are very often called upon to envision and create worlds. At the same time, those of you who know your design history will recall that for the artists and designers of the German Werkbund at the very beginning of the history of contemporary Western design in the early years of the 20th century, the storefront and the shop window were the places where the relationship between art, industry, and the public was first negotiated. In many ways, this year's speakers reach back to that early history and mine it for new possibilities. I hope you'll also take time to visit Idea House 3, which is up at the other end of the building, which is our relatively new design shop here at The Walker. Based in Provo, Utah, Davis Narupe and JP Haney have run the studio, publishing imprint, and online shop Actual Source since 2015. As many of you know, over the past decade, both their work as a studio and their publications under the Actual Source Books imprint and their thoughtfully curated retail and apparel arm have become a reliable resource, one-stop shop, and something of a cheat code to the best in contemporary design. I was telling them right before the talk that I actually met like a really interesting designer in line at Target who was like wearing a Actual Source shirt. JP and Davis first met as friends growing up in Utah, and after design school, they reconnected in Provo at a tech startup in 2013. With young families and the desire to start something new in their hometown, they began a studio, originally called Number 4, which has evolved into the broader Actual Source studio, publisher, and brand. Today, their clients include A24 Films, Nike, On Shoes, and brand collaborations with the likes of Honda and Beams in Japan. As working designers, we think a lot about work-life balance. And beyond the amazing work we will see tonight, one thing I really admire about Actual Source is their integration of life and art. Based outside of one of the big coastal cities, they managed to keep it local and close to home. At the same time, their influence and sphere of fellow travelers is very broad. And they have met many people through art book fairs, their Shoplifters new type design compendiums, and collaborations with people like Stefan Marks that have put them in a global design conversation. This is something we really relate to in the Walker Design Studio. We're very much located here in the Twin Cities, but the Walker publications circulate widely. Our curatorial program is very global, and it's just something we really resonate with studios like Actual Source. JP and Davis are also, of course, designers for whom books, in particular, as objects, as images, as communication, are at the center of so much of what they do. I think it is fitting here at the Walker to note that Actual Source as a broader project began as a book in a contemporary art museum. A 1,000-page volume of research about exhibitionality created as part of a show at the Utah Museum of Contemporary Art a decade ago. Simultaneously an art piece, a prop, and a talismanic object, that very first Actual Source book, in many ways, served as a way of manifesting a design practice. In that sense, and for me personally, the work of Actual Source is a testimony to the value of creating the world you want to live in. I'm very pleased to welcome them to the Walker stage.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks. Also, thank you, Mark, AIGA, and Walker for inviting us.
That was very sweet. We appreciate it. Really, we're so happy to be here. We're going to try to have fun, even though we're nervous. And when I was running through the presentation earlier, I was looking up here and I cracked my neck watching this, so I'm going to be focused right here. I'm JP Haney.
I'm Davis Narupe.
And we're Actual Source.
We've actually done that. We've done that before, and we say every time, "Okay, we are not going to do that."
That was so stupid.
And then that's so embarrassing. And then we were sitting there, should we do it?
It's so
let's do it.
natural.
Yeah, we have to do it.
It's too natural. Okay. We're going to get right into it. We got a lot to talk about, so.
Yeah, I think something that we're excited about tonight is usually when we speak, we talk about one or two projects and maybe skim over our publishing and store side. But today I think we're going to show a little bit more of the store side, our storefront, and products that we produce. Not that we're going to go super deep into them, but we're going to maybe give a little more background as to some of the products that
And perhaps some
design.
silly anecdotes along the way.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into it. The name of this talk we're calling Exhibition, and as Mark noted, really the beginning of our practice was an exhibition that we had at the Utah Museum of Contemporary Art. And we kind of look at this as an exhibition of our work. And so we've put together a presentation. We've designed it carefully. You may not look like it, but we have. And hopefully it will come across in an interesting way.
So this is the town that we live in. It's called Provo.
Careful, bro.
Provo.
You're gonna crack
on
your
my
neck.
We live. Our studio space is right in the center of the city, right next to the Provo Library, which used to be the old BYU Academy.
And that mountain
Brigham Young
right there is called Mount Timpanogos. Sundance Ski Resort is right up a canyon, right, kind of like 10 minutes from where this photo was taken, I'm assuming.
Yeah, when we first started our studio practice, we were worried that we wouldn't be able to do this in a small town, and even in the state of Utah. And it was something that we struggled with, but we had already kind of, at that point, been working at some tech companies and started families, and we were kind of stuck there.
And guess what? Our wives didn't want to move.
Yeah, they didn't want to move either. And so we definitely were stuck there.
Yeah.
But I think as we have kind of put forth the work and established our practice, we're really happy that we were able to stay in Utah.
We like to live there. So we're going to start out with 2004, where Davis and I met in Provo. Davis is actually from California. You could tell him where.
Ventura County, which is a joke. Well, that's where I'm from, but I always say Ventura County. I'm actually from a town called Camarillo.
And I'm actually from a small town called Pleasant Grove, like 15 minutes from Provo. And we met at some friend's house in BYU 2004.
Yeah.
It was a great year. We enjoyed it.
This is actually a picture of me, JP, and one of our friends, Carl, across the street from our current studio. It says 2004. This was 2007.
This picture was 2007, but we had to find an old photo of us.
Yeah, but it's very exciting because this is at the Provo Library, which is across the street from our studio and store, and so we just love this photo.
And we are so happy you can tell.
So at that time, separately, JP and I both lived with this designer named Bardi Halidi. He's from Kosovo, and he was attending the university in Provo, studying graphic design. And I was working construction at the time when I was roommates with Bardi, and I would just see all these like amazing posters, and everything he did was like everything was typographically driven. Like he
Really
was
different than what they teach at the school.
I had other friends doing the design program. I'd never considered design because I wasn't really interested in like what they were making, but I saw what Bardi was making and his use of typography, and I was kind of blown away, like, oh, wow, like that's so interesting. That's what interested me and got me to want to start studying graphic design.
Yeah, he was like having his own poster exhibitions around our town. And it was like, yeah, something we were unaware of, and he really influenced us. He went on to study at Workplatz, and he has founded a design conference called Redo in Pristina, Kosovo. It's very successful, and he's a great guy. Hi, Barty, if you're watching this. Davis and I both kind of arrived at design kind of later in life. I didn't start going to design school until I was 23.
Yeah, and I was 26.
However, we did graduate.
Yeah. So in 2008, I moved back to California. I moved to LA and attended Otis, which is an art school out there, where I studied graphic design. And while I was studying graphic design, JP, I was so excited because one of my friends was also studying graphic design, which was JP, and he was studying at the University of Utah. And so at the time, we were able to send back and forth our work. Our interests weren't the same at the time, but they started like aligning as we started like maybe talking about design more and talking about what we were into. And one common thread was typography, books. We loved like any of the publication classes that we took at school. And so we were like, that was something that we were
we connected on.
And those were some of our favorite projects in school.
The excitement that we had for design at this time was really, we were so obsessed, and we were always talking, we got to start a studio.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. We're gonna design books. And we started working together at a tech company in Provo at 2013. We have been sitting next to each other literally since then. Which is really nice.
Yeah, we've always sat at the same desk.
And people would make fun of us. We'd go to the bathroom, and actually there's a funny story. Our boss was in the bathroom, and we went to the bathroom and we were talking about, we're gonna
Start this design club. We're gonna make posters.
We're gonna have this thing, and we hear somebody laughing in the stall.
And it was our boss, and then he started telling
It was very embarrassing.
It was fun.
But we loved it, We do. We love it still.
Yeah. So to pursue our interest that we continued to have in school, which was these publications. When I finished school, all I wanted to do was design a magazine or a book, but that was not something that was not an opportunity I was given at this job that I had, and so back then I started a publication called Shoplifters. This is the first issue of Shoplifters, and the idea was to kind of just steal content from everybody and make this book. Obviously, there was some more implications against that. So I didn't steal anything, but I did ask my friends if I could borrow their work and print it in this book called Shoplifters.
Yeah, this is number one, multi-format, different page sizes.
Yeah, and the idea at the time was build this publication that every issue the format can change, and the only constant in the system of Shoplifter's system is the fact that it's inconsistent.
Yeah. At the same time, I also was interested in publishing, and this is a book of my iPhone 5 photographs that I published at the time. It's called Enjoy the Heavy Traffic. And you have to keep in mind at this time, like we're working together at night, talking about it constantly, all day.
And at work.
Spending our family's money to produce these publications, and our wives were so annoyed. But it paid off, and it was a good thing, ultimately. This is the first book that we published together.
Yeah, and this is actually when we decided to start, like, our studio at the time is what we were calling it, Number 4. And we called it Number 4 because that's when JP and I both met, 2004.
Yeah. So you'll notice, like, even our catalog numbers now are still N04 dash, the number. So what we decided to do was, like, if we want to become book designers, if we want to get book design commissions, we have to have that work in our portfolio. We have to show people that we can actually do that, and we understand that. So that was kind of the impetus of starting to publish.
Yeah, the problem is we did not have a platform or anyone that was willing to sell our books. So we would print these books, but have no way to get them in anybody's hands or recoup any of the costs that we...
We put a buy now button on our portfolio site,
Yeah,
which no one clicked.
Yeah, we were like, oh,
once.
yeah, these are going to sell out.
But we were invited by our friends Andrew and Carlos, some friends of Davis's from Otis.
Yeah, they were at Otis, and they in Canoga Park, they had a studio and store called 1646. And so we were so excited to go to 1646 and have this kind of exhibition with our books and our work and some of the products that we were making.
Our first kind of merch.
Yeah, first merch, and we were so excited to, like, maybe make a little money back. Unfortunately, more books were stolen than sold, which actually pumped us up.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, we were pretty excited about that, and we recommend anyone to steal any of our books if you see them. Not from here, but from us.
And this was our first foray into PVC structures, which you will see more of later in this presentation. So we had like a few books under our belts, and we had documented them. Our friend Weston Colton, hi Weston, just saying hi to our friends.
Yeah, he still shoots all of our work, and whenever we can use him on any photo shoot, we do.
And at the time, 2015, the Utah Museum of Contemporary Art approached us about doing a show in their projects gallery. The curator there, Jared Stephenson. Hi, Jared. I'm sorry. He asked us to do a show. He said, it's not really about your work, it's how you document your work. That's what we want you to focus on. And we thought that was
even more harsh than that. He said, I don't really like your work.
Yeah.
But we love the way you document your work.
But we said, yes, we'll do it. Thank you for asking us. And
we were very excited.
We were very excited. So this is what we did. I have the notes of what we did here. Asked by Jared Stephenson. Yeah. Why they asked us, got that. Okay, so at this time in Utah, we really consumed graphic design and learned about graphic design through JPEGs on the internet. There was no like central place where we could see design publications. Even the school where I attended they had like some maybe more design related publications, but mainly like magazines, not necessarily things that we were looking at.
And this is something that we wanted so bad, but there was just no access to this in at least the town that we were living in, even in the state.
And then we were asked to do the show, and we thought, well, let's investigate that. Like, maybe an image of an object, a book, can be a powerful representation of that object. Maybe it can have more meaning. Maybe it can mean something different. Maybe that's something to look at doing. So we knew we had an exhibition. We had, for 6 months, during work hours at our job.
We sat next to each other, so we just had this living InDesign document that we were constantly passing around.
We kept a process book, and every time we would put an entry in, we would have a date stamp and a time stamp, and we decided that in this book we would have that bleed off the foredge of the book, so that when it was printed and trimmed, we didn't know what it was going to look like, but it was going to leave something on the foredge of the book, and that could be an interesting way to make images. So essentially we're building this large book, which ended up being 1,000 pages, like Mark mentioned, and the idea was that we would have all this research in there, and we would actually publish the book, but no one was allowed to see it.
Yeah, that was a really fun 6 months at work because it was like every single day we were sitting next to each other. We were able to have this dialogue and conversation about, oh, what could the show be? I think it evolves so much from week to week as, what this could be.
We would cross stuff out.
Yeah, cross stuff out, and it was just this like long conversation that we had that filled up this 1,000-page book essentially.
So you can see this is a preview of what we're doing, which is, we have this book, and then we're adding these layers of distortion to the image, to the book itself. So as we get into it, you'll see that the idea is to obscure the original idea, which is this book, like this object, and have that object inform other artworks, new artworks. And we, in place of showing the book itself, we would show like tools that you would use to sell a book or make a book or ship a book. So for example, and the book was made on like common copy shop paper, like the pink paper you could get. We loved when it was called Kinko's. That was a nice time. And we used that in the book, and we used the black and white architectural enlarger to make large print. The only really expensive thing we did was we actually did make a bunch of rolls of tape, because we always wanted to do that, and that was kind of our first one.
But we did use a lot of the tape, like we would just cut off pieces of the tape and then just put them on some 4x6 cards and send those out as the invitation.
That was
for
our
the show.
invite, yeah. So here's what the forage of the book looked like. There's a little image of it. Here's the spine. So it did fit in our catalog numbering system. And our friend Weston also helped us take these images. We were very interested in trash back then, and we took a lot of images with trash.
Yeah, even that roof, that ceiling tile. We used to work at this office in Salt Lake, and it had just fallen off the ceiling, and so on our way out, we just grabbed it and said, "This has to be part of the show."
And we got pretty extreme with the idea of not showing the book, so we actually cut it in half, and we actually drilled it to the wall in the museum, and we were really, it's out of reach, kind of, and we were really surprised. We were like, hey, we're thinking maybe we could drill it to the wall, and then Jared came out with this huge bolt, and we're like, okay, that's one way to do it. So that was pretty cool, and you also mentioned, we also showed that we also cut it in half figuratively as well.
Yeah, and I think as graphic designers at the time, this was pretty, early in our graphic design journey, or whatever you call it.
Journey, yeah, for sure.
But the ways that we were making design, graphic design, whatever you call it, is what we wanted to use in this show. So like JP said, the Kinko's enlargers, a lot of vinyl applications.
Cheap, fun things to use.
Yeah, cheap. Like we were obviously PVC. That's our thing.
Tiling, 8.5 by 11 sheets.
Yeah. Tiling was a big part of what
Stuff
we
you
were
would do in
interested in
school.
as well.
And so these are like images of the forage that then became like new images. Here's a nice image of the roll of tape. Some more trash. Packing peanuts. Things that kind of fit within this visual language, and stuff. Everything you need to be a publisher but not show the book. This is a sublimated version of the image of that forage, and this sort of drape shape kind of became a symbol for us, and we made like a neon out of it that sits in our studio.
Which still exists in our studio. Yeah.
You could see that book up there. Can you see my mouse?
No.
Excuse me.
He's circling a lot of stuff.
I'm
with
circling
the mouse.
the mouse. Somebody kicked the poster, so we just fixed it with tape. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, we were happy about that.
And then we used like the date stamp and timestamp as kind of content. So there's like a big poster on the floor. I hate to backtrack, but there it is. The show was called Actual Source, and it is about distortion, and it's about adding layers of ideas until the original idea is obscured, leaving a new idea in its place. And it's really about like, is the object important, or is kind of this stuff around it, can it compete? I think we came away from the exhibition really kind of understanding that like the image of a book is stupid and that the book is the thing and that we wanted to focus on. And so it's kind of like the opposite of this. And
But there is power behind the JPEG. Well, that was what we were thinking at the time. But like JP said,
it's no substitute.
yeah, when we stepped away,
It has
like,
its place, but it's no substitute.
there was something about the actual book. For example, last night we were talking about the design studio, Our Polite Society, and they designed this book called 11 by 17, and that was we had only seen it through JPEGs, and we were
This is a tremendous book.
so
You should look
into
at it.
like this book, but we had only seen it online, so we'd constantly be referencing this book. This is the best book ever. And then when we started our store, that was one of the first books we were like, we have to get 11 by 17. We have to sell that book. And so we got it in, and we got the book in, and there were so many things we didn't realize.
We missed everything about
We
it.
were like, wait, all the best parts of this book, you can't even see them in this online. They like actually exist in the physical form of this book. The format of this book is actually different than we thought it was. And the importance of this book has nothing to do with the image.
The images were a trick.
Yeah, we got fooled, luckily, got fooled into, thinking this book was one thing when it was really something way more special.
So we kind of moved to this place where we wanted to focus on our attention on this idea of a physical exchange. And we want to continue publishing. That was important to us. And we wanted to start a store where we could then like actually engage with these publications and different objects. And in addition to that,
We also needed a place for our books to live next to that
Yes.
kind of gave them some legitimacy. Because we were still designing books, but like we said earlier, no one was buying them or even aware that they existed. And so we needed to kind of build, kind of like,
we came up with the
yeah,
trick.
we came up with the trick to sell our books because they live next to amazing, beautiful books that other amazing designers have designed.
So we wanted to create a platform where this could work potentially, where we have a storefront, we can publish and have these books alongside other books that people want to buy, and it would be a way for us to kind of pursue our interests, which brings us to the trifecta.
Next one.
Oh, excuse me, the trifecta. So, yeah, these are really the things that make up our design practice. This is an ecosystem, I guess, with the people that are also involved in it. And of course, when you put all these things together,
We are Actual Source.
that's what we are. And I like this. It's kind of funny when people read like a description or like a meaning of something, but I think this was a nice idea, reading about what an ecosystem is. It's a system or a group of interconnected elements formed by the interaction of a community of organisms with their environment. And I think that's a really nice way to think about a design practice. And moving forward with this idea of physical exchange, we like this quote from Alex Lynn at his lecture last year. And last one, hey Alex,
Who we are huge fans
huge
of and
fans
love his
of.
work
Yeah.
so much.
Without a physical artifact, things don't quite exist. He was speaking about the Chamber website, which was really amazing piece of design that we used to look at and reference often. That is now not. You can't look at it. It's not online anymore. So with that, that's kind of like we thought that was a nice idea.
I think something also about the ecosystem that is important for at least the way our practice functions is that sometimes we lean heavily on the store, and then some months the store, becomes a complete afterthought because the studio is so busy. And then other times we're so deep into like working on a book or trying to get a book out. So there's a lot of like our focus is bounce from one of these pillars to the other quite often. And every single year we're like, you know what? Should we just stop the design practice and just do the store? And then 2 months later we're like, should we stop the store and just do there's a constant shift, and I think
It's one
that's
thing.
it's all one thing, and that's what kind of keeps us so interested.
So here's just a list of books we've published up to this point. It's not a ton, but it's something. There's also been a few that we have published that we weren't able to put out, or some terrible thing happened, but we're not going to talk about it. This is our publisher's mark logo that we designed, and then we had Robert Beatty do this chrome effect, which feels really cool.
Yeah, if any of you guys like Chrome out there.
Yeah, this is a
Pretty cool.
chrome. Actually it's a trick. It's not really chrome. It's digital. But it's nice. And it's something to put on a spine. It's like it makes it feel legit. And this is the last book that came out that we published, which is called No Finish Line. Nike approached us. Nick Schoenberger approached us about just publishing a book, not even designing it, just kind of using our platform to do that. This is a book about design, celebrating Nike's 50th year anniversary and looking to the next 50 years.
Yeah, and we were so excited because this is something that we had talked about doing, but the right opportunity kind of never came about until this book.
And this was actually designed by Zach Group and edited by Sam Graw, Nicholas Schoenberger, and Jay Pavampera. And Sam's in the house. What's up, Sam?
Yeah. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. So now we're going to show you a bunch of images, and we may stop sometimes.
Yeah, I think
to
we're moving a lot slower than
We're
we
moving
expected
so slow.
through our presentation. So I think this part will try to speed up a little bit.
Dang, we gotta go faster. Okay, a little bit faster. This is our current showroom. When we started the studio, we originally had a showroom, and then
We
nobody
had
came.
that desire, and we talked about. We had that desire, like, oh, what if there was a place in Utah, and maybe even Provo, Utah, this small town,
Perhaps Provo.
where there were there's this amazing selection of art and design books, and we could go and see them. I bet everyone wants that in our town. So we opened this storefront, and no one in our town wanted that. And so we decided to take over the store, and because it had such great light, we put our studio in the store and just sold the books online because it seemed like other people cared about the books. So for a while, we didn't have a storefront, and then recently decided to kind of start.
This is a different room in the same building.
Yes, different room in the same building, and kind of make a small showroom, thinking that maybe some people will be into it. And
So far, it's going
yeah,
pretty good.
luckily a lot of people. in
You
our
guys are
town.
welcome to stop by.
Yeah.
All the books that we sell are actually in the back room where this was taken. So there's like a huge selection, and you can come through we also have like a kind of a little design archive. You can come through and look at that and kind of all the stuff we've collected over the years, and just kind of a resource for students and stuff, who rarely take us up on it. We hope they will someday. So yeah, just kind of a small sample of projects from the last few years. We're not going to talk about most of them. These are just like kind of store and publishing related things.
And I guess we'll go back on what we said earlier. The power of the JPEG. We'll just go through
Yeah.
how.
We don't have anything physical to show you.
Oh, this one's fun. This is JP and I in front of our studio. This is a spread inside of Popeye magazine.
Japanese fashion magazine.
Yeah,
Popeye.
I think I'm wearing the same exact outfit, just a different color. Different color.
Same set, different color.
Yeah, same set, different color.
We're gonna keep going.
Tape.
We love tape.
We love tape. Yeah, we made tape in the store, and it's weird to say, but we've actually made a lot of tape, and we love making tape.
Many rolls.
Mini rolls. That's kind of one of the more exciting things in the store. It's like when we run out of tape, it's so exciting to.
We're on our fifth
make-
iteration of this fragile
Yeah.
thing, which no one pays attention to.
Yeah, we even tried selling the tape online.
We did sell some.
We sold a couple rolls.
Shoplifters 10. this is a great one for us, and we're going to work on the next. Actually, so we actually stopped. We're going to stop using the name Shoplifters. It's retired. But we are going to move forward with new type design. We're going to do a new version of this book.
Yeah, so we're gonna.
Soon.
This is volume 2, and we're gonna have we're working on volume 3 currently.
This is a Frisbee.
All your shoelace fans out there.
More tape. Blankies. This is my son George. And we made some kids stuff. And we need your kids to wear them. Stockings. Collaboration with Beams Japan, Beams Tea. Shout out to Corey Martin, who is a great friend of ours and illustrator. This is his drawing.
Yeah, Corey used to live in Utah. He moved to Chicago for art school, and we've been like fans of his work before he went to school, and then after school, we've actually been able to collaborate with him with many projects and clients.
We're going to
over the
pause
past-
here to talk about the Comfy Boy, which is a hat that we designed. It's got a foam visor. This is one of them. It's got a foam visor. It's very comfortable to wear. It's got a medium crown,
You can wear it backwards. Forwards.
rounded visor, baseball style, and it has a couple iterations. But that's something that we produced. It took quite a few iterations. It used to have a paper visor, and that got kind of crinkly.
Yeah.
So the foam's much better. It's upgraded. So yeah, that's a Comfy Boy. We did a collaboration with Honda Motorcycles USA. They promised us a motorcycle, and we didn't get one.
Promise is a strong word. Wasn't no promise.
This is our 3-point, I guess, 3-point something about why books that we wrote, which is, I'm going to have to look at this screen. Preservation, accessibility, and intimacy. That's why. And that's a book a shirt that we make.
Yeah, that's a different iteration with Stefan Mark's dog mascot that we have.
Board book series with New Tendency Berlin. That was a really fun one.
Yeah, that was fun because the shape of the book matched the bookend
Exactly.
exactly. And
Same radius.
This was the first time we were able to work. Second time we were able to work with a dear friend of ours from our town named Daniel Everett, a photographer whose work we love so much.
We published a book of work by Fraser Muggeridge. Bookworks. Some record slip mats. This is a really nice image to us because in Shoplifters 9 we asked Milton Glaser if we could feature some of his drawings. And he wrote back in an email, and he was very nice and sent us really nice high-res images of his drawings, and he passed away not too long after. And it's a real, really amazing thing for us
Yeah,
to
it's
have
a
these.
special thing. This is special for us.
This is in Kyoto, Japan, with a brand called Fresh Service. That's currently up right now. This is at the Penco store in Tokyo, currently like a pop-up for a collaboration, which you'll see here. This is a big-ass mug,
Yeah.
32 ounces.
Yeah, we always. I feel like we always have a few products that are jokes that no one knows are jokes, and in the picture online, you can't tell this is a huge mug, and so like everyone just thinks it's a mug.
We've had some angry people.
Yeah, some people have gotten it and been like, this is a huge mug. So the only time the joke works is when our friends come to the studio and they're like, hey, can I get some coffee? And we fill this thing up with more coffee than they need.
We had a friend finish it, though, which is cool. More Fresh Service collaborations. They're really great, and I think we've done like 5 collections with them now.
A couple still to come.
Yeah.
In production.
This is a spread from Shoplifters 5, and this is the typeface called CCTV by our friends Dynamo, who we've been close collaborators with for, I guess, since like 2016. And this was the first use of this typeface, and after using it in this book, we were like, we have to use
Yeah,
this.
we
moving
adopted it for
forward.
the actual source logo
And they said, okay, you can.
under certain conditions.
And this is the first use also of this dog by Stefan Marks, who's now kind of our mascot. And Stefan has been a great collaborator, and just like a dream to work with someone like that and have this drawing kind of represent us. Braulio Amato is a good friend of ours, and he drew, it's hard to see because it's kind of tonal, but he drew this lettering and sent it to us and said, here you go, you can have this for free, no problem, you can use it however you want.
We are very grateful.
We were grateful. A book we published called Vantage Point, another Daniel Everett project with Martin Lang. This is the most recent Fresh Service collection, which was made using some of our tape. This man's wearing 3 bags. And it says for catalog, write to, and then our address, and we don't even have a catalog.
We were just joking the other day how amazing it would be if someone wrote wrote for that, and we would send them something for sure.
We were just talking last night about how like the scanner is like kind of our main tool. We use it every single day.
Even when we started our practice, it was like the best way for us to document our work cheaply without having a photo shoot, or I have no skills with the camera, so there's no way I could personally document my work outside of the scan. And that has been a really important part of our practice in the beginning, in the middle, and then currently it's how we document all our books that we sell on our website.
And we don't currently have a scanner sponsorship, but we're looking for one.
Our scanner was about to die.
You guys know any Epson reps?
And our studio got robbed, our whole building got robbed, and they stole our scanner. And thanks to Farmers Insurance, we got a new scanner.
Then they dropped our asses.
Yeah, they dropped us after that. So we're currently looking for a new
insurance agency as well. This is a collection of stationery items that we did with Penco Japan that just came out, and we're so pleased and happy. Thank you, Penco.
Yeah, they're great. When we were running through this, it took like 5 minutes in the hotel.
This is Davis sweetly applying some vinyl.
I'm pretty good at it.
Okay, cool. We're going to stop here as well to talk about this. We were approached by Goldwyn Japan. It's an outerwear company. Actually, I'm going to read this. Sorry. Alpine Codex Group, this is the name of this project, is a fictional hiking group that combines the unique ideas of Actual Source, a design studio based in Utah, USA, with the functionality that Goldwyn cultivated in its history of outdoor apparel manufacturing. It's a 5-piece outerwear collection with custom royal blue Gore-Tex fabric for the shell and cap. 100% cotton French terry for the hoodie and crew. Lots of nice details manufactured at the highest possible quality. And we had this idea to use the same person repeating as this like Codex group for this campaign. We didn't produce this campaign in Japan. The team who did it is unbelievable.
Yeah, amazing.
We'll credit them. But this is our friend Shinonsuke who did the drawings as well. So this is a pretty fun thing that we got to do. And we made this nice Tyvek labeling system on every single piece. Let's see here. There's a little closer look. And sometimes, this reference I think just came from this old metal plate or something. And we're always kind of looking at non-design things to design, to give us ideas for a design, and that was one of them. This is also something there. We put Pro 22, and then it came out in 23. These socks are a good example. The identity for this was really about this idea of typographic outerwear, where both of our names are in parentheses in different ways. Parentheses and graphics, that was kind of the impetus. And here's the flyer for the launch party in Japan. And this is a really cool film that they made for the launch. Cool. Starring Shinonsuke, creative direction by Taro Mott, who asked us to do the project. He's a really amazing guy. Director was Koichi Toya, director of photography Gaku Kamimura, and the music by Daigo Sakuragi. Excuse me. And this is the launch party at Commune in Tokyo. And then this is the exterior of the show. It was so fun. And my partner couldn't come. He injured himself,
I injured myself.
which was sad. Okay, moving on. This is a project that we did for Uniqlo. It's like they asked us, we're kind of always doing these fictional book club stuff, but they're always asking us to do that, just so you know.
Yeah, not us.
No, we're not coming up with that.
No way. Even though we did on the last one.
It's pretty fun. So this is another fictional book club, and this is the conversation that they're having. Very cordial. And this was fun because it was in all these Uniqlo stores. This is in Kyoto.
Yeah, we also did a short sleeve shirt that actually, this shirt wasn't released in the States, so we never actually saw this shirt in person, but this is another instance where we were able to collaborate with a friend of ours, Corey Martin, who we had collaborated with earlier. And there's this Nike golf shirt with this 3 figures of just like simple figures of,
At
someone-
different points in a swing.
Yeah, and in a swing, and we saw that shirt. It was the most simple Nike shirt, and we're like, oh my gosh, one day, we gotta kind of have this amazing, do something like that with someone, reading a book in different positions.
This is 9 positions.
And so, yeah, Corey
Kinda cool.
drew a few more than this, but we threw the 9 on there.
Wrong Studio interview and Shoplifters 4, an ad, more PVC. This is a pop-up we did at ADO in Brooklyn.
At the time, Matt Benfell, he used to do all the shipping in our store, and he was a graphic design student.
And now he's a designer.
Now he's a designer, and we were like, hey, do you think you could go to Home Depot and cut a bunch of, figure out how to cut a bunch of, we kind of designed it, and then he like built this 3D model of it and was like, oh, you guys kind of designed it all wrong. This is the right way. So we were like so grateful. If we would have just
Sorry,
cut
Matt.
it would have been terrible. So Matt like figured it all out, and really grateful that he came out and helped us install it, and it was
cool.
a lot of fun.
This is a show we did at our friend's laundry room. It's called Beefy Tea. And this is kind of the opposite of the Mike Mills Sonic Youth cover for Washing Machine. So now the washing machines are wearing the shirts.
Instead of a washing machine on the shirt.
Yeah.
That's a 12X shirt. It
Boot
barely
boys.
fit on there.
God dang, should we
Yeah, maybe
just
we'll
skip
go-
through
we'll
this
go- we'll go
stuff?
quick through this.
We got lost.
We
This
knew it was gonna
This
happen
is
soon.
classic
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
This is a physical manifestation of Shoplifters 8. So an exhibition of our book.
Yeah.
There are some cool details though, so I'm going to tell you. We made these plaques, and these are exact page size, and they're engraved like plastic plaques that you get from like a trophy shop. And we made all these plaques of all these pages, exact replicas, and that was pretty cool. The ink on this like sublimated fabric, the red was wrong, so we just flipped them inside out.
The reds never match,
Reds never match.
which we knew that, and we still went forth.
This is a roll of the cover material, which we just leaned against the wall. These are custom frames, and then they're pretty badass. They swing.
With some proofs inside.
This is what it looks like when you think someone's taking a photo of you, and they're actually taking a video. And we got a shout out to Bijan Berahimi and Michael Spoljak, who invited us to do the show.
And that in that photo, that was Katrina Peterson. She's worked with us for 9 years as well.
9 years. She's amazing, and we're really grateful to work with her. This was scanned at 8,000 DPI. It's an actual book cover, and it's separated into back cover, spine, and front cover, and then framed. It did not fit in the van that we rented.
Yeah, well, we had to rent a van to take this. We
Oh, that's
we
right.
thought we could fit it in my Subaru. If anyone has a Subaru, the trunk space
It
isn't.
did not
you know,
fit. And we still don't have them. They're still in Portland.
Yeah, they're still in Portland. There's no way to get them.
Hotel Drugs in Popeye magazine. This is a die from the cover of Shoplifters 3. A squirrel. Some
More tape.
washi tape.
More tape. More tape.
A sweater. That's cool. Stefan Marks. Nike's That Group Actual Source shirt. This shirt's called Favorite File.
Sorry, we're just clicking through stuff.
Hassan Rahim designed this skateboard, and this is the second one we made, and we love him.
Yeah, with all the shoplifters that we put out, we would kind of have a product that accompanies the shoplifters. And so the basketballs with Shoplifter 8, and Hassan was in Shoplifters 5. So he made a skateboard for it.
This is cool. And Jerry Sue, who we
Yeah,
love,
he called out,
He
yeah.
called out. And when we go to book fairs, sometimes we would make a T-shirt with all the prices on them, so that we always knew what they were. We have a mix series, and you heard like a mix that we had made when you walked in here, and that was not this cover, but the one after it. This is an ad campaign we made once.
I thought it was funny. We throw it in.
Yeah. Adam Higton, who we love his work, and he's kind of been closely related to us. This is a baseball hat. Sometimes we have sales. This is a Photoshop image. It's not real.
Yeah, it looks cool though. If it was real. If we were shipping out that much, that would be cool.
We actually got tricked.
Yeah, we thought it was real. and then Andrew's like, oh, that was photoshopped, right? Oh, dang it.
More tape. The most recent one. Hey, check it out. Actual Source Walker.
Yeah, we didn't.
Limited edition.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Okay, cool. We're done with that part. Take a deep breath. We're moving on. How are we doing? Should we hurry?
Yeah, we can. We'll
Oh my gosh! Yeah, she says.
Yeah.
All right. Goal, dang.
This is our move. We always go too long.
He kind of gave us permission.
Yeah.
Now he's taking it back. Okay, cool. Okay, we're gonna start. We're gonna start this section off with a bang. An email we received.
Yeah, in 2017 or 18, our now longtime collaborator Zoe emailed us from A24, mentioning that she liked some of the products and books that we were making, and was interested in us helping them start publishing in print and help do some of the stuff that we were doing with them.
The point of this is that she contacted us because from our self-initiated work that we put our efforts in and we invested our time and money into, and that because we were interested in it, and that's the only thing that's ever really paid off for us. So, so then we started this nice series, screenplay book series. This was the most recent collection until today, and this one came out, and we didn't really know for the film Past Lives. But we got to thank the team, Zoe Beyer, Perindrum, and Cheyenne Salabi. And we're going to talk about this book, which is, and a little bit about the cover elements. So this is a book for the Mike Mills film, 20th Century Women. And the way the screenplay book series is set up is there's a few constants. So the two lines at the top, the title of the film is in a different typeface, and the name of the director as well. That changes. And then the back, we have the cast, and we have the aspect ratio on the bottom. We have an anecdote about that, but we're not going to tell you.
Because of time.
And now I'm debating whether we should show this film.
Yeah, show it.
Okay. We made this film for, this book won the Book Design Prize at the Tokyo Type Directors Club, and we made this film with the computer voice.
It's only a couple
20th
minutes.
Century Women is a film by the graphic designer and film director Mike Mills. It was released by A24 in December of 2016. The film is the story of a teenage boy, his mother, and two other women who help raise him among the love and freedom of Southern California of 1979. We will talk about the book in 3 points. 1. Background on the book. Design began in early 2020 for what would be book 005 in the A24 screenplay book series. Every time we work on one of these books, we watch the film many times and try to take in as much information as we can. After a while, we start to form an impression of what the book can be. In this case, we also looked for American books from the 1970s to help inform some of the textural qualities we wanted. We found a USDA Forest Service report from 1977 and a Grand Canyon District book from the same year that was published by the Department of the Interior that helped influence some of our choices. The book series has its
Some of
own
our
system
choices.
of rules that this book had to follow. The main structure of the cover doesn't change with the exception of the title and director. The typography is always debossed in foil, and we always use a frame from the film as a tip-on. In addition, we always feature a complete set of film credits at the end of the book. 2. Typography. The first typeface in the hierarchy is called New Ballard. It was designed by Alaric Garnier. We chose this
Alaric
typeface
Garnier.
because of its relationship to American sign painting alphabets and its similarity to letters drawn by the California artist John Baldassari. Rest in peace, John. The second, and most used typeface in the hierarchy is a family of Ionic variants called Quadrant. It was designed by Vincent Chan and it provided us with the ability to use the monospaced variant for the screenplay, which are typically typeset in a mono, and the regular width variant for the essays and interview. The typesetting was influenced by both of the aforementioned government publications. The Grand Canyon book's use of various Ionic typefaces and the Forest Service book for its formal qualities, in particular the texture on the page from the use of a typewriter throughout and its rampant use of underlining.
We're going to move on. There's more, but we're going to keep going quickly. This is the book. We're happy with it. And we worked with Mike Mills, and he's a really sweet guy. And we did 2 projects with him, and
Yeah.
he's just a
Us-
smart
And
generous
super into
dude.
his work and
Yeah.
into kind of the way we worked with him. He was very, very, very easy to work with. I think something that we wanted to kind of touch on was like in the beginning, JP and I talked about how we wanted to make books. Like that was something that we wanted to get book commissions. But how do we do that? We have to, do this ourselves and make these books. And so we did that for a few years. And somehow in 2015, like because of the books we were making, we were able to design Hypebeast magazine. And we did a couple more books after that. And then because of, this collection of books and these products that we were making on our store, A24 reached out to us and we started working with them. We've now done, I think we counted 32 books we have done with A24 as of
God bless them.
the newest book. And we're still working on some more. This is something that we've loved doing when we were in school. We loved doing after school. And what we wanted to become a big part of our practice, which has become a part of our practice.
We're going to talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a great movie, and we were happy with this book, and we're showing it because we're sort of breaking some of the conventions of the system here. So we're kind of breaking out of these lines and kind of, it's a bit of a mess. This is Davis's letters, by the way.
Yes, it is.
And there's 4 aspect ratios, and that was cool to put on there. There's always new things to solve in these books.
Yeah, and I think this was, we had done so many of these screenplay books. We had been looking for opportunities to be able to break out of this pretty rigid system that we built on the cover, at least. The inside is pretty flexible, like that constantly changes. But this was the opportunity, like the movie really lent itself to kind of allow us to break that system that we had built for the screenplay books.
We get to do other fun projects. We did the identity for A24 Music, which is their in-house record label. This is the mark and from various scans of records that they put out. Shipping box, hat. This is how we constructed the logo. We wanted it to feel like it was part of the A24 family. And they
It
had
also
sent,
feel like a logo.
yeah, it's feel like a logo, and they were kind of referencing like the old Atlantic logo, and you can kind of see it's got this quality where there's kind of like a record spinning in the middle, and there's maybe some speakers on the side, and It's kind of hard to do an abstract thing nowadays, but it just worked, and I think we got kind of lucky. We got to make some fun stuff. This is a LP we designed as well, and then all the LPs have this sticker system on the front, which kind of sets all the A24 releases apart. We had initially intended the system to be more robust, like this is a music player we had thought of, but it never really materialized. It kind of just kept it for like a few things. But it could have been cool. Maybe still could. Haha.
Would have been cool. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about one more project. That's it. Okay? Okay. This is another identity project for the French running technical apparel brand called Satisfy, founded by Brice Partouche. They're so cool, and their old identity was a little bit, I think, a high contrast serif. It's kind of hard to see, and they had developed this really cool labeling system that you would put on the outside of garments and then tear off. And basically, the idea was to kind of build a system for how they could move forward with this, but it'd be really visible and something they could replicate over every single piece they had.
Yeah, so the typography was a really important part of this project. And so coming up, finding a type palette that worked, and then also had, we love this mono typeface that JP actually designed with Robert Janes.
Called Simon.
Called Simon is like the secondary mark in this.
And here's like the labeling system. So this is on the outside of their garments, and then you can tear them off or you can leave it there.
Yeah, the system had to kind of be able to flex enough that it didn't just work well on these labels, but stuff, objects that weren't confined to like a small space that, socks, shirts, other stuff that were open and expanded even more.
We all love designing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of our
But
favorite
nobody
thing.
uses them.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to design this showroom for Satisfy at the running event in Austin. So we designed the space and some of the furniture pieces inside using these like metal studs and kind of raw materials.
Yeah, really kind of taking the DNA of the brand, like the mood of Satisfy, and bring it into this showroom.
The stool is designed by Sean Petit. They're really beautiful. The table, came up with this idea of having a table that they were launching a shoe at this event, and that the table would be kind of a storytelling element. So they would have like compartments where you can kind of learn about the shoe. And this guy, Eric Arlen, who actually designed the shoe, also designed this beautiful aluminum table.
Yeah, Eric from Forms.
From Forms, F-O-A-R-M-S. Did a tremendous job. And then we designed the identity for the shoe, which is called the Rocker. And the box is informed by it's huge, and it's informed by like RC car boxes.
Yeah.
That was Brice's creative direction, which is really cool.
Brice is super into these RC cars from like the 80s and sent us a few of the boxes and packaging for these RC cars, and wanted that to like really influence the box, not only in form and shape, but in
Come.
the actual.
Let's see
Unboxing.
what we have in the box. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Sick color.
Sick color. Amazing.
I think there are 5
Oh,
colorways, and they're so good.
Looks really good on the foot, and we'll get to that
Really
point and
nice.
I'll stop it.
Let's try these babies
And
on.
those socks have that same system as the tags, which is kind of cool.
Damn, they feel good.
Damn, they
Let's
feel
go.
good, he says. Cool.
I think for us, it's like as designers, sometimes you design something and your only deliverables a PDF, like this brand book, and there's sometimes there's like,
Frankly, that stinks.
yeah, we're sad about that. We don't necessarily feel satisfied, and this was like a really important project for us, because not only did we do the identity, and like there was stuff actually made, but then we got to inform or got to design and the box for this new shoe, the physical space, and kind of how everything came together. So we're huge fans of Satisfy, and we're huge fans of Brice, really grateful that we were able to work on this project with them.
So with that, we'll discard the last part of our talk and move to the next section, which would be, you know what I'm going to do? Actually, I'm so sorry. We got one last thing we need to do. Forgive us. We got to talk about our team really quick.
Yeah.
So Katrina Peterson.
Yeah, Katrina's worked with us for 9 years. Yeah, one of the best designers ever.
Trustworthy, loyal,
Yeah.
helpful, friendly.
Yeah, she's great.
Michelle Jensen, she's our studio manager. Couldn't do it without her. Nick Massarelli, senior designer, really genius guy. Matt Benfell, a great designer, lives in Chicago. Kellen Renstrom also lives in New York, and like Nick does. I don't know if I mentioned that. And is from here.
Hey.
Oh no, he's from.
Kellen,
Kellen's from
Kellen.
here. Kellen's from here, yes. And he's great. You guys have done a good job with him. And Whitney Morris is a designer for us.
She lived in Utah, moved to DC, and is moving back. We're excited to have her back in the office.
Andrew Aguilera runs our shop, and Max, my nephew, it's not nepotism, he's good at shipping.
He does all the shipping for the store, and we're really grateful for him.
So, thank you. And here's our team. Huh? Sure.
Sure, yeah, I guess.
Huh?
We put it up there.
Okay.
Thanks so much for having us here. I've only been at the Walker a couple of years, and we curate these every year, and I sort of make a wish list of people I would love to have on the Walker stage, and so I'm just very pleased when we're able to pull it together. So I'm really just want to thank you again for being here. I'm only going to ask one question because we talked a little bit about it last night, and then we'll open it up, and we have mics going around. So I encourage everyone, to just flag a mic down. So I'm gonna just break the ice with one quick question, and then we'll open it up so people have time to ask. So we talked a little bit last night over dinner just about the importance of production, because I think one of the things that I loved about the talk and what I do love about your work is it's very much located in the real world, right? We're not seeing these like PDF sort of flat mock-up kind of world. Like everything is very real. The texture of the books, the even the apparel all feels very much like on a person and in and of the real world. And I think even at the Walker, we create books all the time. We create merch, for the shop, and just production is such a huge part of it because it really is the way it enters the world. So maybe talk a little bit about how you work with vendors, how production, folds into the wider practice, and then we can open up after that.
Sure. Let me go.
We'll jump in.
Yeah. Production is a huge thing that we do and we focus on, and it actually is a part of our. It's a part of our decision making in everything. I think maybe a good story is like there used to be a printer in Provo we used to use often, and we just to like get to know what they do, we would go and visit them. And that's a good idea in any vendor you use to go, if you can, go see them. And you walk around and you see like, oh, there's a drill press. There's the shrink wrap machine. Can you do something weird with that? There was some paper on the ground that was for proofing. And I was like, we felt this paper. I was like, this is amazing. What is this? He's like, oh, you don't want that. This is for proofing. I said, no, yes, we do. This is what we want to print the book on. And he said, okay, let's do it. But we never would have gotten to know that if we didn't kind of familiarize ourselves with the process. So it's definitely like if you know about it, if you know how something's made, you can take advantage of that process. And that's something we try to position ourselves to do often. So, and finding the right people. Luckily, Nichelle, who works with us, that's just kind of her job now. She does sources everything for A24 and helps us find the right people. And then just all of our friends, we always ask them. And then you kind of learn how to be as prescriptive as possible. And because, we've felt sad many times when stuff come back looking poor.
Yeah, even sometimes stuff comes back and we think it looks terrible. And I think we were telling you about this last night. We got a book back, Shoplifters 8, and the spine felt loose to us. And JP and I, we thought we were done. We're like, oh, we're gonna
gonna laugh
jokes.
us out of
They're-
town.
We're hacks, and we were so nervous about like this spine, thinking that like this was the end of the world. We try to threaten the printer, like, oh yeah, we don't deserve this. We're taking business elsewhere. They're like, that's just the tolerance. That's the tolerance we're working within. And so we reached out to like one of our mentors, Steven Serrato, a designer that we asked many questions to. Like, we love his
Great
work
guy.
so much. We reached out to Steven Serrato and we showed him, and we were like, what should we do? Like, we can't we spent so much money on this. What are we gonna do? And he actually just told us,
No big whoop.
no one's gonna notice.
Nobody
or care.
cares.
And to our surprise, no one noticed or cared.
It's all okay.
Yeah, it's all okay. That being said, there have been other production problems that people have noticed and cared. But I don't know why I told that story, but I will say about production being an important part of our practice. When we were when anyone's in school, like, you don't really learn how to put together production files. You don't really learn how to work with printers or how to get stuff made. But when you get out of school, you're kind of expected to know what to do right away. And that was really difficult for us to kind of jump right into the job field and kind of have this expectation that we should know how to get this stuff made, even though like we've literally never printed anything outside of Kinko's like before that point. And so us kind of doing research, going to printers, going with everyone in our studio,
Making a bunch of mistakes.
yeah, making mistakes, kind of figuring that out, and starting like with our own production runs in Utah, and then finding a better printer in California. Then kind of maybe finding a better printer and doing, figuring out different paper stocks and better options in Lithuania, and then printing in Mexico and printing back in the U.S. and kind of figuring out what the project is and where we need to print that. And obviously it takes time, and even more than time, it takes like people willing to talk to you. And I think that's a big part of what we have done, not just in production, but also in figuring out how to manage our studio and kind of manage our time better, is reaching out to other designers and other artists. And,
Trade secrets.
yeah, and we have been really willing and open to kind of give contacts and let you know how we do it, mainly because everyone's been so open with us.
Yeah.
And right when we kind of started really seriously working on our studio, we went out to New York and met with a bunch of friends out there who really
Gave us some
Yeah,
tips.
gave us some great tips.
Well, I mean, I just mentioned it because I think what I love about the apparel in particular is it never feels overcooked, but then it also feels so well put together and made and produced. And,
Thanks,
and
Mark.
it has that quality, which is like we do that a lot, and it's very hard to like dial that in, and it takes a lot of work. And so we had talked about that last night, so I wanted to underline that. I'm going to open it up to the group here. I know there's a lot of people, so hopefully we can get a few questions in. There are mics.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Brooke. Before I start, I just want to say I do recommend the There Is No Finish Line book to everyone. I have it. Buy it or steal it, I guess.
Don't steal that one.
My
I gotta pay
main-
Nike for some of that stuff.
My main question is, what was the biggest problem you guys faced in terms of scaling up? Whether it just be like your audiences and working and partnering up with these big corporations, or even like in your mediums, moving from book design to like apparel and tape.
Yeah,
Glad you noticed the
a lot of tape-based stuff. Our philosophy has always been like just we never intentionally scale up. I guess we're kind of taking it as it comes, and if we can go bigger, we try, and like if we need to scale up because of a certain project, then we do it. But we're not trying to. Yeah, we're also trying to chill, as well.
Yeah, I think like chill is a good thing. I think like we really have been trying to find a better balance. Like when we talked about like the beginning of, with the actual source show, and at that time, like the amount of work we were doing was insane. And, you know, we were really pursuing to become better graphic designers. Not that we still are pursuing to become better graphic designers now, but at that time there was like so much knowledge that
We were
we needed to
thirsty.
consume and wanted to consume that like it really consumed our lives. And I don't want to say it probably took away from our, you know, lives with our
With our families. and stuff. Yeah.
which is sad. And as our kids are getting older, like we really still care like and want to focus as much as we can on the store and studio, but we want to figure like we are finding how to like better balance like
It's got to be
also,
sustainable.
hey, hanging out with our kids because that's honestly way more important than making a business card.
Yeah.
And
So
it's more
to
fun.
answer your question, just when the opportunity comes in, we'll try it, and if it doesn't work, then we'll just go back to what we were doing. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Tegan. I'm an art history student at the U here, and I'm someone who uses a lot of online databases in addition to tactile objects when I do research. How do you think that your brand, which is very tactile, in 50 years, how would you hope or expect it to be reviewed by future historians?
Oh boy. Well, I think there's like a couple ways to think about that. Hopefully our body of work is like of interest and maybe hopefully made some sort of like impact in like the type of work it is and what we leave behind. But we do think about that. We do keep an archive at ours and of everything we make, and that's getting to be a job in and of itself. Running out of space. But maybe to answer your question, hopefully they'll like it. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I also think that we try to inject, like, I know everyone does this, but try to maybe inject their personality a little bit in their work, and hopefully some of that comes across in the future. No one's gonna know who we are. No one actually knows that we're constantly trying to tell jokes within our work. But when when people do find out, we get excited about that.
When somebody dusts off a 32-ounce mug and picks it out of the earth, hopefully they'll use it.
Hi.
Hi.
So my name is Olivia, and I am personally very into pop culture. So I was wondering, I know that you were worried about when you were first starting out the limitations that Utah or a smaller city might have on your design firm, but do you think that your proximity to Sundance has influenced your work at all, or has had any impact in your work with A24?
That's a good question. I would say Sundance itself, no.
I don't think so.
And I think that's mainly because we've gone to see some films and it's cool. Actually, when people say like, "Where do you live?" and we say, "Oh, Sundance is here," say, "Oh, okay." That's helped us a lot. That's helped, but no, I think to kind of answer your question, every day as a creative person, I think part of your job is to consume culture, whether that be music or like digging deeper on that artist that you love. Like, have you been listening to, Willie Nelson's first album, or are you just listening to, whatever that example is, like digging deep on things and collecting things as you go. That's like kind of the only way you can respond adequately to the problem of being a creative person. So we work on that, whether that's like, we consider that work, you try to watch a film and like, that's a necessary thing for a creative person to do.
Yeah, I also I definitely don't think Sundance has kind of affected it given us.
They don't know we exist
Yeah,
either.
they don't know we exist. Yeah.
They don't know us.
But I do think that, like what JP said, was kind of digging in deeper. And we also understand that there is not a lot for us to kind of consume in Utah. There's a ton, but what we're looking for is not necessarily, in abundance. And so we are willing to travel and, expose our kids to museums and take them other places and also ourselves and kind of dig in deeper as well. And that does not, for us, that means not, staying in our little bubble in a small town in Utah. It is kind of getting out there and exposing yourselves. And especially for our work, like when the first time we worked with Nike, they reached out and were like, we went and spoke at Nike, and then someone at Adidas had heard that we had done that, and they said, oh, next time you're in town, you gotta hit us up. And we're like, oh, that's funny. We're coming to town
In 2
3
weeks.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, really? They're like, we're not actually we don't have availability for you to come for 4 weeks. We're like, oh, we got the dates mixed up. We're coming in like 4 weeks. So we obviously booked a flight and we went out there. And then a couple months later, that Zoe from A24 hit us up and we're like, oh, that's so cool you hit us up. We're going to be in New York in 2 weeks. And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's set up a meeting up. So we booked a flight. We set a meeting up with her. And
This coincidence is crazy.
this happens constantly with us where we're like, all right, we have to kind of take advantage of this opportunity. And for us, I think it's important for us to like not do obviously like almost every meeting we do is over Zoom, but when we have the the chance, like we really try to meet face to face so they can at least kind of get to know us, and that might give them maybe a better understanding of how some of our work and how we're coming to some of our decision making.
They can see that we're nice.
Yeah,
Stuff.
try to be.
Maybe have time for a couple more.
Hey, so something I noticed about your work is that I think in design school, I think it's really kind of drilled into you to that there needs to be like a deep meaning, a deep message. Everything needs to be. I think we have a tendency to sort of get lost in the sauce. But I noticed, especially with your internal work, there seems to be a balance between like we just really wanted to do this, and I really like it. Mixed with, like Mark said, not being overcooked. How do you kind of find that balance between, kind of injecting like deeper meaning into your designs while also just going on instinct and sort of, stopping the process and
Sure.
and trusting your sort of gut?
I kind of feel like we approach coming to an idea that way conceptually, but we're not so concerned about whether it shows up. If people can tell.
It's a good starting point.
It's a good starting point. Like the work is going to be what it's going to be, but like making sure the joke lands or something is probably not like our first priority. So yeah, I think it's so hard to come up with ideas, and I think however you can get there and come up with a concept that you can pursue, that's kind of where we like to be. And so sometimes it does end up kind of visually in the work, but
I think also for the store, like that's like our opportunity where we can really express our personal interest. And so I think that's shown a lot through the store, but through our work, the first week or two of every project we're really kind of researching,
digging deep,
kind of trying to, like JP said, dig deeper. And that's when whoever in the studio is working on whatever that project is when it's less design work and it's more kind of just thinking, iterating, sketches, and kind of like trying to, come up with one or two kind of conceptual reasonings or things that could kind of push this project and give us a reason to kind of get to the end point.
or a reason to explain
Even more so,
something
yeah.
that might help sell the idea through, because that's another part. So yeah, that definitely is a tool for sure. It's like try to sell the idea to someone if they can kind of understand it. it makes sense to them and they want to do it. That makes the job easy. I can't wait for this question.
Hi, my name is Sam, and I am studying graphic design and interactive media at the University of Wisconsin-Stout. And my question is, has there ever been an instance where you have been told no that has helped develop your design journey?
We're told no all the time. Like that, we kind of actually, we joke, it's not really a joke, but we talk about this a lot. That our day is usually, usually people telling us they don't like what we do. And that's a really hard thing. When we have weeks where, every once in a while we'll have a week where we had like 3 good meetings. We're like, that was the best week ever. But mostly, we're presenting, I don't know, let's just say we're presenting round 1 of my identity. We've got a few directions. They may, most of the time, they like maybe 1, maybe 2 ideas.
Just
from
by the nature of doing
all
multiple
these.
things.
Yeah, and we
They're gonna like
understand
one.
that, but if it is difficult that most of our day is people being disappointed in what we're showing them.
I wouldn't say that.
Disappointed strong, but
People are pumped.
But the way we take it, we're so into this idea. Let's just say JP does a direction, I do a direction, Katrina does a direction. You're so excited about like the research that you did, when we're explaining like how we came up, why we're choosing this typeface, maybe some reason for the system that we built. Maybe it references something. When we're explaining that, we're like, oh, they're gonna be obsessed with this. Is it. They're gonna love this. And you're watching their reactions as you're presenting, and really quickly you realize they don't like anything I'm talking about right now. And then you're just like praying, please say they like JP's direction. Please say they like Katrina's direction.
But being no is cool too, because you just got to find another way around it. And being told no in projects, it has made projects better for sure. That's definitely a thing to take advantage of.
I think it's actually good.
Don't be sad.
There are good things about people saying no to us, and sometimes it's not like a no to the whole direction. It's no to these few things, and you can't try to have no ego, and then take their feedback, but do a good job in re-executing what you're working on. Because whenever we've done that, we're like, oh, I'm really glad they told us not to do that, because it somehow ended up twice as better than like we would have. And that's the point of collaboration, is that hopefully it could be the downfall of collaboration as well, but hopefully something beautiful and amazing comes out of it, as long as you're proud of it.
I do want to invite everybody to adjourn to the Bazinet lobby. I think the shop is going to stay open for a little while longer, and we can kind of talk more informally. But I just want to thank you guys again for coming to the Walker, and thank all of you for being here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.